Inner Fight Endurance Q&A show 37.
37.
Yes.
Imagine.
Flex, where have you been this weekend? Jet setting, travelling anywhere?
No travel this weekend. No, nice weekend at home.
Were you on your bike Friday?
No.
What?
No bike Friday.
Not even with the new kit?
No.
Not even with the new kit?
No.
You can get new Inner Fight kit. Have you got yours yet?
No.
Unbelievable. Well, I have, and tested it out on Friday, and it is as good as cycling kit gets.
Laser cut.
Laser cut. The shorts fit just like a glove, as they say.
Like your favourite armchair.
Like your favourite. Yeah, I don't have an armchair, but if I had one, I'd want them to fit like my new Inner Fight bib shorts do.
When you get to my age, you'll have a favourite armchair.
So yeah, head to our web shop, order in your kit, and look and feel fantastic while riding your bike.
True that.
You can also head to innerfight.com/runstrong, download month 1 of Run Strong, and run stronger than you've ever run before. We've got really good feedback off this program so far, which is brilliant. And month 2 is ready to go. We've got it as soon as it hits 1st of April. No April Fools. It's
all
month
on.
2 is on. Good. Right. Questions this week, as we are a Q&A show.
Yep.
First one comes in from the Barefoot Kiwis.
Oh.
And one, I think we'll both have our ways of answering it.
Yep.
What do you two do to get yourself past hitting the wall and or out of a negative mindset? So I think we're looking at more or less when you're in a rut, maybe in racing or training. I'm not sure which is which, but yeah, hitting a wall or negative mindset. I'd say hitting the wall is more in a race situation.
Yeah.
Negative mindset, probably training.
Possibly.
Do you want to go first, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we said the concept of hitting a wall usually is a physical thing, which generally just means that you've run out of gas, energy, strength, etc. I think each race has a start and a finish point, and I have done some races where you literally get to the point when you think you cannot continue. Kona being one of those races, and then you've got to break it down into, and we've had sort of discussion about this whole thing before, but you just got to break it down into micro segments. So it's like, can I get to that next tree that's 50 meters up the road? Can I then get to the next aid station, which is 500 meters up the road? And I think you've just got to sort of maybe flick back. You've just got to understand what's the underlying reason why you're out there in the first place. So is there a particular cause that you're representing? I think if your why is strong enough, you'll always find a way to get there on race day.
When you're working with clients, mate, how do you dig out that why?
So I think we would have sort of chat about almost pre-race coping strategies. So it will be that same conversation. It's like when you get into a hole, which you almost certainly will in a lot of Ironman races, ultra sort of races especially, I think more so than the shorter course races, like you've always got to have something to fall back on. And I'd go back to sort of South Africa, and obviously I was racing sort of in memory of my dad, and for me that was the thing when I really didn't want to walk the whole thing, but just every step I took I was just thinking about that, and it just kept me moving forwards. And I think everybody's not going to have a sad story. There'll be good stories, there'll be charities, there'll be whatever is the reason why. I think that just has to be really, really clearly defined, and then you can make it happen.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I think you're right. Not everyone needs a deep, dark, sad story to pull out.
Yeah.
Like, it can be from going for the question around negative mindset, like all the positivity side of it. So like if you used to be really overweight, now you get to run and you get to bike, and that's why you're getting this done. Or if you've had coming back from an injury and now you finally get to run through that injury, and just remember all the bad times when you were injured and you couldn't go out and enjoy this sort of thing. So talking to yourself in a more positive way to keep yourself moving forward can also be a strategy. But you've got to find out what works for you, I think.
It's like a mantra almost. You've got to have something that you can just repeat over and over and over again that's going to keep you moving forwards. And everybody's different. And I've had different reasons for different races. It's like it might be you want to qualify for the World Championships, or you want to beat your mate who's 200 meters up the road. Like that's all real stuff, right? So
definitely real.
So I think but to have that clear in your mind before you start is really helpful.
And any tricks that you use to stay in a more positive mindset?
Generally, I think, again, goes back to the same thing. It's just micro goals. So it's like, what is the big objective, and then what do we do today, tomorrow, this weekend, next weekend, April, May, June, and the time flies by, right? Yeah. So like, I've seen it where people have said, I've got 6 months until I race Ironman, and so let's relax, and all of a sudden we're down to 3 months, and then we're stressed about it, right? So so daily, weekly, monthly.
Yeah, I'd agree with all of those points. I also like to share with some clients who I think need it is really be aware of how you're talking to yourself. So self-talk is huge. I think it's almost number one in any psychological factor of sport, and this question is largely based around that. So how you are talking to yourself, and a race is one thing. For me in a race, I barely remember many of my races. It's kind of almost a black point in my mind, but what I do remember is how hard training can be going up to those races, and that's where self-talk is absolutely critical. And a lot of people who I think struggle with this, particularly in training, is I say to them, like, are you speaking to yourself as you would your best friend?
Yeah.
Like, you should be absolutely number one, should be you. And how you are to yourself, so, if you always tell yourself you're tired, well, then you're going to be tired. If you always tell yourself you're not good enough, then you won't be good enough. Tell yourself that you are doing everything you can to be the best that you can be that day, and talk to yourself as if your best mate's just saying to you, I'm really tired, mate, and I'm low on motivation. That's okay, mate. We'll get you through this. Like you say, we'll break it down. We'll get you through 5 minutes. We'll get you through 10 minutes. Like, today you've done really well. Go and do this. Like, help yourself out with here. And once you start getting that bit more positive energy and moving forward with things, life becomes so much easier. Yeah,
you just want like a succession of small successes, and that gets you moving. And I think the other thing to remember is that usually training is way harder than racing.
Oh, definitely.
Like if you can imagine a soulless ride or a run around Al Qudra or Nad Al Shiba in the middle of the night when you really don't want to do it and you've had a tough day at work, and it's like, and racing is, like every race I've ever done has absolutely flown past, whether it's been a sprint or an Ironman.
Yeah.
But if you've done the work if you've done the work in training, the racing should come easy.
Yeah. Good. Right. A little bit of time for our final question, which is a bit more triathlon related. From @JackHammond93. Brick training, how important is it? And if training for Ironman, how far should the bike and run be? Go, mate. Quick answer.
The quick answer is essential. We've got 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
The quick answer is it's absolutely essential. And I think it's one of the things that people really struggle with. And I think it's also one of the things that people find very, very easy to say, do you know what? It was a long ride. It's a bit warm now. I'll skip that because that's not really important. And actually, like so many things in sport, triathlon specifically, and even life, things that are difficult to do, the more often you do them, the easier it gets.
Funny that. And look, it's like the whole point of a transition run, and this is a run off a long bike for me, is not to build run fitness. It's to get used to running when you've been sat on your butt for 6 hours. If it's an Ironman, 5 hours, whatever that is. It's not, you're not building run fitness with a 30-minute or a 60-minute run off the bike, but what you're doing is getting used to running after you've been sat down on your bike for 5-6 hours. Yeah. I think to answer more of the core point of that question, if you're a strong biker, then the bike doesn't need to be as long, and you'd focus on a harder run. Yeah. Getting used to running, like you're saying, for that first 30 minutes. And then if you want to build in fitness if you're not if you're not in good run form, then you'd put in the fitness work. If you're a poor biker, but coming from like a marathon background, then you'd be focusing on the bike, and you would just be doing that 20-30 minute transition feel over, because you're not going to gain too much more fitness if you're already marathon fit. And I think also useful for Ironman especially is to run long enough so that you're actually practicing your race day run nutrition. So let's say if you're going to take 2, 3 or 3 gels an hour while you're running, or can you get through like sort of 2 gel cycles? So that might mean a 45-50 minute run, so that you actually know how that feels on your stomach as well. It's not just your legs, it's your stomach. Plus, that run should feel very easy. If you're going for 20 or 30 minutes, you're going your Ironman pace, you should get out, and it should just be almost a cool down off the bike, because it's your Ironman run. It's like at your Ironman pace. Aerobic, probably, pace. Very aerobic. If you come off and you're zinging down at 5k pace and you think life's amazing, just being very aware of reality that that's not how it will be come race day, or shouldn't be. Practice and simulate what you're going to do on race day. So again, if you want to run a 4-hour marathon, that's 5:40 a k. That's what you should be running off the bike, and it's not hard. Exactly. Wisdom shared. Good. that is this week, guys. We'll see you next week for show 38.
Thanks for tuning in.